Hey, this is Joe at graybenchelec. Welcome back to the pedal teardown series where I take apart new and interesting pedals and show you what's going on inside. Today we have the Browne Amplification Protein. Okay, we have the Browne Amplification Protein. So this is a two-sided overdrive pedal in the same trend as like the Kingtone and the Kingtone Duelist. In this case, the green side over here, this is the green side, right? Yeah, green side is on the right, blue side's on the left. The green side is a tube screamer based circuit. On the blue side, it is a bluesbreaker, Marshall bluesbreaker style circuit. Externals here, we have level gain and tone for the bluesbreaker side and level drive and tone for the tube screamer side. Latching foot switches for both. Side mounted jacks, they look like the Neutrik jack with the external chrome bezel. External nut, DC jack, the Kobicon style. The enclosure is a powder coat, but it's sort of a matte powder coat or missing like a clear or gloss top coat. Got a nice little metal badge here that gives the version of the pedal, in this case version 2.2, and serial number. The pedal is marked made in Kansas City, USA. Top marks have the CE mark and the 9-volt center negative power or polarity marking. That's it for externals. Let's go ahead and open up the pedal. All right, so here's the PCB for the Browne Amplification Protein. So all surface mount, as you can see, with the exception, of course, of off-board components like the DC jack here and the foot switches. Even the little loop switches here are little surface mount, tiny little surface mount switches there. Grounding jack on the side, same style that Earthquaker used. We saw that in the special cranker. Potentiometers, they look like the Alphas, but I think that someone told me they're either Vivex or they might be from Stomp Box Parts. I was trying to see. Sometimes these say like Cusack on the back. Oh yeah. So these pots say Cusack on the back, which I know John Cusack makes pedals for other people. Like they're sort of like that. There's an amp company that does the same thing. I can't remember what they're called. They had a fire recently. But yeah, they in-house make amps for different brands, Soldano being one that I remember. But I think Cusack sort of does the same thing where they will build pedals for people. And the pots are marked Cusack on the back, which makes you think that might be the situation going on here. Either way, I think the pots themselves might actually be made by Alpha. I don't know. Someone else told me that it might be Vivex or something like that. So anyway, the jacks are Neutrik stereo switching jacks. Foot switches are standard blue 3-pole double throw switches. There's two boards. There's sort of the main signal board where all the signal processing is done for the two independent drive pedals. And then there's the daughter board here, which does the foot switching, the input and output jacks, and the loop switching. I very briefly read what these switches do, but essentially you can use either of the sides as their own loops. And the input and output jacks are stereo TRS jacks. So you can go in on the tip and out on the ring or whatever it is. But you can sort of have each drive pedal in its own loop, and that's in the split. You set both sides of the split. And if you want normal, then I believe they're just one jumper into the next one and out the pedal. All surface mount, as we said before. And we said tube screamer also on one side, bluesbreakers on the other. We've got some op amps, of course. I can read out these values for you. So top right here is a Texas Instruments 4558, and then another Texas Instruments 4558 down there, which that would be the tube screamer side. And then Over here is a TLO-71 Texas Instruments and a TLO-72, so that's the blues breaker side. All Texas Instruments surface mount dip packages. There's a little transistor down here, which if this is a tube screamer, it's going to be a JFET input buffer. There's some diodes here for diode clipping for the tube screamer. Over here as well, diodes for the feedback loops. Caps here are going to be for filtering and different high capacitance, coupling caps out of the op amp and gain stages. Off board, 9-volt DC plug. Flipping over to the back here. All the soldering looks essentially perfect, like it's done by a machine. No doubt there. But the solder job that might be done by hand on the foot switches and the input and output jacks also looks really good. LEDs are water clear LEDs, just green and blue. And they have the little stabilizing piece of plastic around them, which is nice. It'll keep them from shorting to each other, the two leads, and will also keep them from bending. That's cool. And you might notice that the pots don't have the covers on the back, but it looks like there's not actually anything for the pots to short out to underneath there, so not necessary. You really only need the pots if there's solder joints underneath, because we're surface mount, there's no through hole, there's nothing going through a hole through the board. So those pots become unnecessary. And just a quick look at the enclosure here. The enclosure just marked R5. I don't recognize these enclosures. We've got a little bare metal patch here, so when they were powder coating the enclosure, put a little sticker over that, cooked them, and then pulled the sticker off, and that gives a good connection for the ground spring here on the daughter board. That is the PCB for the Browne Amplification Protein. Let's go ahead and put the pedal back together. All right, that was a teardown of the Browne Amplification Protein. If you have any questions or recommendations for a pedal you want to see on a future teardown episode, let me know in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate you hitting the like button and subscribing, and hit the notification bell if you want to know when I make a new video. I am Joe from Graybenchelec. Thank you for watching.